Hello and welcome to Not Every Single. I'm Joe.
And I'm Stephanie.
You know, I want this video to be exactly the length of the song. So we got 8 minutes. Let's get into it. There's a new Smile track. It's called Bending Hectic. What'd you think?
I thought this song was kind of cool, but ultimately I don't know if it's something I would really go back and listen to personally.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's one of the more effective Smile songs I've heard. Now, I think we should start by giving some context. The Smile has not really been a project that we were all in on, I'd say. We heard the record when it came out. We were actually driving across country at the time, moving. We put it on in the van. I don't know.
We didn't even finish it.
Yeah, it felt like the wrong environment.
Yeah.
I kind of put it aside, said like, I'm going to try to take this in another time because oftentimes with Radiohead projects, like sometimes it's a major grower, but here's the thing. I haven't gotten back to it yet.
Yeah.
So maybe this is the thing that ropes me into the Smile finally because I was pretty into it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think there's anything wrong with this song. I listened to it, I think 3 times, and each time I found myself sort of like wandering, usually with again, we don't want to like lump this in with Radiohead because it's a different project. But when, Tom York's projects, there's just a lot of sort of things that when you're listening, you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I hear that. And I was kind of like, oh yeah, I'm listening to this song.
Right. Yeah. Your mind was drifting a little bit.
Yeah.
It is a 3-piece. There's not as much instrumentation going on. They are kind of a very live band.
Yeah.
So, take that into account, I think. But I see what you mean. Like, it's not something like Pyramid Song where I'm just like, so like, oh my God, like I'm in it. I am in the song, just kind of floating around in the waveform.
Yeah, well, and out of curiosity, then I went and listened back to like the popular, Smile songs on, and even the ones that I was a little less into, I still felt the production was a lot better.
Interesting. Okay, let's get into that.
Right. Because
this is not a Nigel Godrich production.
For like the first time ever.
I think ever since Nigel was involved, I think one of the only things that wasn't a Nigel project was Suspiria.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Which was also this guy, Sam Petz Davies, who produced Suspiria for Tom.
Okay.
He was an engineer on Moonshaped Pool. And he's worked with a lot of bands. He's worked with Red Hot Chili Peppers. He's worked with Warpaint. He's been around, And so to hear this different production, there was things I liked about it and things I didn't.
Yeah, I could definitely kind of see a correlation between this and Moonshaped Pool,
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's one thing I haven't been super into is like I want the edge back in these guys, and you kind of get it on like 1 or 2 Smile songs, but ever since like Suspiria and Moonshaped Pool, it's been just very subdued lately.
Yeah, what was that one? It's like something we don't know what tomorrow brings.
Yeah.
That one's really cool. That was my favorite.
I do like that song that brings back the drive that I miss from like something like Body Snatchers, which is going back to 2007, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did like the production. I thought it was very clear and bright, which is something that I thought was lacking from the last few Nigel-headed albums. I thought that King of Limbs and Moonshaped Pool could use just like some brightened up clearness.
Okay.
And a little less, I don't know, almost muddy, but that sounds too negative. You know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? Let me know if you know what I mean.
Some people do, and some people have no idea.
But I will say that this big climactic wall of noise rock ending doesn't sound as big as it should.
Yeah, it's like, oh dang, this is happening, and then it's like pretty good.
Coming out of that massive string swell, reminiscent of like the end of that one Beatles song, A Day in the Life, I think.
Okay, I don't know that one.
Yeah, this big epic string swell. It's almost like if you looked at the waveform, like that's louder than what it's leading to, and it should be different. It feels like this song shrinks when it gets to that. I want it to be huge, Yeah,
and like there's like some of the guitar tone, some of it's like that could be so effective if you just, I don't know how like the production would be, but like that, yeah, it's like this really cool, heavier guitar tone that it's just kind of there.
Yeah, it just needs a little something. It needs a little tweaking. Maybe it should have been
Send us the stuff and he'll remaster it for you. He'll remix it.
Send the stems. All right, send those stems. But listen, I want to talk about some parts in this song that really do catch my attention as a listener. When it gets to that line about mountainside and then drops down, not a key change, but just like more of a drop than you'd expect. Thought that was really cool. And right after that, once it has your attention from that, you get the strings coming in.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, it's one of Johnny's strong suits. He brings strings into almost everything. And I really started appreciating it with In Rainbows.
Yeah.
And hearing his string compositions in every song. I know they were there before and there's impressive stuff like How to Disappear Completely, but on In Rainbows, I really started to notice that and have appreciated it a lot ever since.
Yeah. Yeah, Tom's vocals on here are really incredible. Again, like I could use a little bit more edge to it and all that.
I mean, but I did write down I miss the belt.
Yeah.
I do miss that.
Yeah, the wailing.
That big vibrato wailing belt from the days of OK Computer. And I can hear that it should be there at the end. Like I can hear how it would be there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I understand the guy's not that age anymore. And, you know, either can't do that or can, but it wouldn't really be done in earnest, you know?
Yeah, just maybe he's done with that kind of singing. Like people change and evolve as artists. So it could just be something that's not really to his taste anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I can hear in my head like how that would how this ending would sound back in that time.
Me too. Yeah.
And it would be really cool. I'll wait for the AI version.
I know, inevitable. I was gonna say like the bending. It's called bending hectic. You know, the guitar.
Yeah, this sort of amorphous, loose time that the first act of the song has. Very reminiscent of Dawn Chorus, which is on Anima. Right. That one. Dawn Chorus does have that sort of thing where you're kind of like slowing down and then locking back into the groove. Seems like something he's into lately. I really like it.
Yeah, sort of like a detuned note or a bent note or something.
They're like bending it, and it's sort of like, you know, almost like we used to do in that one project with the whammy where it's like do. Yeah.
And it was interesting to me that they actually like carried that out like the whole time. It was like it came in and I was like, oh, that's cool, and they're gonna like go away from it, but no, it was there.
Which brings us to Tom Skinner. I'm really, really impressed by this guy. Understatement, I know. He's an amazing drummer, and yeah, you don't expect that to lock into a groove, and it does. And when it does, it's like I was like, whoa, yeah, that really caught my attention. And then there's a switch to a more driving groove. What works in the toms. He's, you know, obviously he's got this jazzy quality. I love the total like dryness to his drums. And part of what threw me off about their record was Nigel adding like too much like snare reverb like in the left ear or something that would distract me from just like that crisp dry drumming.
Yeah, when the drums came in, I really like the first time I listened to it, especially I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's the perfect drums right now.
I mean, no offense to Phil or their precious CR78, but this guy rules. So we're way over 8 minutes probably, right? Mission failed.
We're at like 9, yeah.
I'll trim some fat. I'll edit out some fluff. How's that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Okay. Listen, Radiohead is not a band we've talked much about on this channel, but I'd love to deep dive into some of those past records because, oh man, do I love deep diving into Radiohead. Encyclopedic knowledge of this band, I'm telling you.
That and Smashing Pumpkins don't get you started. Yeah.
An official historian. That's my credentials. Yeah. So if you'd like to see that sort of thing, go ahead and let us know and then stick around, subscribe. You know what to do. Hit the buttons, click the things. Thanks for watching. This is Not Every Single. I'm Joe.
And I'm Stephanie.
See you next time.